Alright, let's not waste a single second. Because episode 9 of Foundation didn't just give us answers, it cracked open forbidden doors that we were never supposed to peek behind. And honestly, what I saw in this episode gave me chills. The kind of chills that don't fade when the credits roll, but instead follow you into the silence after. Now, I have to ask you something. Did you feel it too? That uneasiness when the warden whispered, "Never have I known such love," before collapsing with blood streaming from her eyes. Be honest. Did your stomach twist like mine did? Because here's the thing. That wasn't just shock value. That was the show revealing the mule's true method. And I'll tell you right now, it's far more terrifying than anything Empire ever conjured. See, most villains control through fear armies or politics. But the mule, he doesn't force people like puppets. He rewires them at the very core. He implants loyalty like a parasite of the soul. And here's the controversial part, it's not even brute strength that makes him dangerous, it's love. Twisted, corrupted, weaponized love. And that's a problem we've never seen Foundation deal with before. But wait, before I dive into this forbidden revelation, let me throw a question at you. If the mule doesn't need to control everyone, only the powerful few, then hasn't he already won? Think about it. What's scarier? A villain commanding an army, or a villain who only has to whisper into the right ear, and suddenly entire empires fall like dominoes? And if you're still here right now, hooked on this breakdown like I am, then I need you to do something vital. Hit that subscribe button. Because trust me, what we're about to uncover about Foundation isn't just surface-level fan chatter. We're talking hidden symbolism, forbidden knowledge, secrets buried under layers of paradox and betrayal. And you don't want to miss when I unravel episode 10, because if 9 was the build-up, then the finale might just be the detonation. Now, let's rewind and dissect this step by step. We start with Gal. And I'm going to say it, Gal in this episode is looking every bit as powerful as the mule himself. Did you see how casually she tore through the warden's mind? No hesitation, no restraint, just straight into the core of her being. But here's the loop that no one's talking about. If Gal is growing this strong, doesn't that mean the line between savior and tyrant is starting to blur? What if she doesn't just fight the mule, but becomes his mirror? And that's the uncomfortable truth of this season. Every act of resistance seems to come with a dangerous price. The more Gal leans into her power, the more she risks becoming the very thing she's trying to stop. Have you noticed the visual parallels? The way the camera frames her during psychic interrogations almost identically to the mule when he bends others to his will. That's no accident. That's foreshadowing. But let's get even darker. The warden's death wasn't just a creepy moment. It was a blueprint, a message. The mule doesn't have infinite reach. He doesn't need to. He's perfected the art of efficiency. He only needs the top pieces of the board. The high-ups, the influential. The rest of the pawns follow automatically. And if that doesn't make your skin crawl, let me twist the knife further. What happens when Gale tries the same strategy? Because let's be honest, she already has. She didn't just interrogate the warden. She overrode her. She probed everyone around her, sweeping their minds for loyalty. And when she found Magnifico's heart still devoted to the mule, she hesitated. She let him live. Why? Was it mercy, or was it weakness? Now here's the forbidden knowledge most viewers missed. Harry himself practically warned us in this very scene. He hinted that Magnifico's story doesn't add up. That is so-called rescue by the mule years ago might be nothing but a fabricated seed planted in his memory. Do you realize what that means? If Magnifico isn't who he says he is, then every single choice Gal makes around him could already be part of the mule's design. And if Magnifico really is the mule in disguise, then it's already too late. That's the pain point, right there. Foundation keeps dangling redemption and hope in front of us. But every time we reach for it, there's poison dripping from the edges. And what makes it worse? Gal doesn't seem to notice. Or maybe she does, but refuses to admit it. And isn't that the most human flaw of all? I'll put it bluntly. Episode 9 isn't just about plot twists. It's about showing us the terrifying fragility of trust. And that's the paradox this episode sets up. Who do you trust when loyalty itself can be manufactured? Who do you believe when memories can be rewritten? Now, let me tease you with this. I've uncovered a chilling parallel between this episode and something buried all the way back in Season 1. A clue that foreshadows exactly how the mule's manipulation works and why Gal may already be caught in his web without realizing it. Stick around, because I'll reveal that connection in just a moment. But first, let's pivot into the chaos unraveling with Demerzel and Dusk. Because if you thought the Mule's game was dangerous, wait until you see what Empire just did to the galaxy itself. Let's shift our lens now, because while Gal's storyline has us clutching our seats, there's another battlefield quietly exploding in the shadows, the crumbling Empire. And this is where Foundation Episode 9 punches us in the gut harder than anyone expected. We need to talk about Demerzel. Now, if you've followed my past breakdowns, you already know how I feel about her. Demerzel isn't just a servant. She's the spine holding Cleon's fragile clone dynasty together. But in this episode, something changes. For the first time, we see her mask slipping. Not in some dramatic, overt betrayal, but in tiny fractures. In her silence. In her hesitation. In the way her eyes linger just a little too long after Dusk confronts her. And here's where things get controversial. When Dusk finally corners her with those damning words, "You're not bound by us, are you?" That wasn't just an emotional outburst. That was a seismic crack in the foundation of Empire itself. Because if Demerzel isn't bound to the Cleans, then who is she bound to? I want you to sit with that for a second. Let it marinate. Because the show has been breadcrumbing this secret since Season 1. Remember how Demerzel always seemed to, the Cleans to believe they were in charge. That's not loyalty. That's strategy. That's control dressed as devotion. And here, in Episode 9, we're finally forced to ask, has the Empire been nothing more than her puppet stage all along? But the twist doesn't stop there. Because while Dusk is trying to untangle the web around Demerzel, Day is orchestrating something far more catastrophic. And this is where the real horror of Episode 9 begins to creep in. The Novocular genocide. Let's be clear. This wasn't war. This wasn't strategy. This was extermination. Cold, clinical, and almost casual in execution. Day doesn't just destroy the Novocular people, he erases them. Entire star systems blinked out in silence while he smirked from his throne. And the worst part, he framed it as necessity, as inevitability. This is where Foundation slaps us with a mirror, because haven't we heard those same excuses before in history? It had to be done. They left no choice. And yet, in Day's cruelty, you could almost hear Demerzel's invisible hand guiding the move. The question is, was it truly his choice, or just another manipulation orchestrated by her unseen programming? Now, I'll admit something here. When I first watched the sequence, I thought, there's no way the show actually went there. They wouldn't risk wiping out an entire civilization just to make a point. But then the realization hit me. That's exactly why they did it. Because genocide isn't supposed to feel like a spectacle. It's supposed to make us recoil, to make us sick. And if you felt uncomfortable, that was the point.